This is the very first edition of Rugby World Cup today on SENZ, coming to you live from France, Lyon to be exact, as we count down to kick off at Rugby World Cup 2023. My name is Daniel McHardy. A real honour to be here on behalf of SENZ alongside the wonderful Logan Swinkles, who has already got through a power of work organising this excursion. So bravo, Logan. I'm not an easy travel companion, being a world-class absent-minded fool after all, but I'm sure Logan would not mind if I spoke on his behalf and say we are so excited to be able to try and bring you, the listener, a mental picture, that is, of what things are like in France, and try to bring you all the colour from the home of the tricolour. Getting here was an adventure, let's get this out of the way. A long trip that took us via Melbourne, Dubai, and then on to Charles de Gaulle Airport in the capital city of France. But we are delighted to be here, and we've got a great show lined up for you. We'll hear from Jason Ryan, assistant coach of the All Blacks, and former Springbok Kevin Putt is along the way. They'll add lots of insightful analysis. My body clock is a bit upside down, so bear with me throughout the duration of the show. I thought it was Saturday until only a few hours ago when Logan actually told me, no, you're wrong, but only after a mocking glance, it has to be said. Hey, after we touched down in France, we scurried outside to grab a lift, and if you believe in good omens or good signs, our driver might have delivered the very first of them. Now, this young man was a powerfully built figure. He made quite an impression when he first stepped out of his car, and I thought to myself immediately, I bet you this guy's a front row forward. I bet you. And quickly we introduced ourselves, and Akeem responded with a warm smile, but one that grew only wider and wider as he figured out we were from little old New Zealand. And I asked Akeem, was he a rugby fan? His response was pretty darn quick and direct. Oh yes, yes indeed he was. He told us in no uncertain terms, in crisp English, that he was in fact a hooker for his local rugby club and was a big fan of code. We didn't say code, of course, and a fan of the All Blacks as well, especially one Sonny Bill Williams, who was his all-time favourite player. Now, we exchanged some pleasantries. He was much larger than us, after all. He powered through the hectic Paris traffic. Soon we sped past where the World Cup will be actually decided, the Stade de France, in the northern reaches of Paris. It was lit up in glorious blue, or ominous blue, if you're anyone but a French fan. Though, through my terrible French and his far better English, I jumped straight to the chase to get a finger on his rugby pulse. So who's going to win the World Cup?
One World Cup?
Yeah. Who's going to win?
For me?
Who's going to be Champion Cup du Monde?
For me, France or New Zealand?
We'll take that.
For me, France or New Zealand.
Okay.
For me, this is the final of the World Cup, France-New Zealand.
You've heard it here first. Well, let's pack up and go home, Logan. We know what's going to happen. Well, let's hope, indeed, it is New Zealand to go through to the final. And unlike their most recent outing against South Africa, let's hope the All Blacks' form heats up, a bit like the French weather. Sorry to say this, Kiwis, but it's reached over 30 degrees both days we've been here in Paris and Lyon. And get this, it's expected to reach 33 degrees in Paris on the day of the tournament opener. Let's hope the action on the field can match that heat. Though from what I have witnessed, you wouldn't say Paris is awash with Rugby World Cup fever. Across that massive city, the boulevards and streets are certainly not adorned with World Cup flags and signs everywhere you look. They're coming, it seems. However, once you speak to the locals, one thing is very clear. They are well aware that the biggest stars of world rugby are on their shores and ready to perform. There's a real underlying confidence from French fans in their home side's ability and chances of lifting Bill for the very first time in their history. It's obvious they have rather high expectations. But there also is a palpable, deep respect for the All Blacks, for what the All Blacks have achieved over the years. This sentiment mirrored by the current French coach, Fabien Galtier, the former scrum half who played at 4 World Cups himself, was gushing in his praise of New Zealand at yesterday's press conference, and he said, well, he did speak in English, but I'll translate. He said, After the draw 3 years ago, I said it was wonderful for us. We're starting a World Cup at home and against the best team in the world, one that has won the title 3 times and has never been beaten in a pool match. 31 wins out of 31 since 1987 in 9 World Cups. We, the French, love the All Blacks. They're a team that inspires us. That is from Fabien Galtier, head coach of France. So the French charm offensive has already started from coaches and fans alike. And many of those fans will be side by side, not only at Stade de France, Saturday morning New Zealand time for the first game, but they will be scattered all around the country. We caught a glimpse of an impressively large World Cup village that was being prepared on the banks of the river that runs through Paris. The village is located in the quite majestic Place de Concorde in the heart of this cultural wonderland. I bet you will struggle to find a more picturesque place to gather as fans to watch. It is truly a spectacular spot, and I'm sure your jaws will drop when you see images of it once the tournament starts. In all, they've got 10 World Cup villages being assembled up and down the country to give fans from all nations a chance to meet, mingle and revel in the occasion. But in some of the smaller centres, like the university town of Tours in central France, World Cup fever has already taken hold. Just ask the Irish team, who could have forgiven themselves for feeling like rock stars the other day when 12,000 fans turned up to watch practice. 12,000 fans. Sounded like Alan Iverson there. Practice, we're talking, after all. Here is Andy Farrell, the head coach of Ireland, who was simply blown away.
Oh, it's fantastic. So obviously there's a lot of work that goes into it. So in 2 years in the planning, you start us off on a recce and you've got to make a choice. And by far and away, we felt as a management that the people of the city of Tours wanted us to be here. And when somebody wants you and they prove that with their actions, then the relationships build. So we're delighted how we've been treated so far from the people of Tours and the hotel, etc. So it's a nice start getting into the country. Also, this is what World Cups are all about: making sure that you understand what it's all about on the ground and feel the atmosphere of the people.
That is indeed what it's all about. And our short time in Paris was over as we sped at great rates south, some 391 kilometres southeast of Paris, to Lyon, which is the third largest city in France, where the All Blacks are putting on their final touches of World Cup preparation. A large group welcomed the All Blacks at a train station in Lyon as rugby-mad fans keen to catch a glimpse of the men in black. Soon after, police escort off to their training base, where they were officially welcomed with a large civic reception in Lyon. A great turnout was seen there, and a beaming All Blacks coach, Ian Foster, was rather thankful for that welcome. He spoke of his admiration of this country and showed he could speak the language a little bit too. However, Foster knows why they are here. It's to win, and I'm not talking about winning over the local fans. Foster knows the spotlight is always high when it comes to the All Blacks, but Ian Foster and his team are just desperate to get on with the job.
Very impatient. No, it's but we're well planned. We're excited to be here today, and like every country, the World Cups are such a special time. So we can't wait to start, but we know that this tournament is going to start with a very big game. That's the pressure of international rugby, but every team is prepared in a different way for this tournament. We feel that we had a very strong rugby championship. We feel we had a bit of a break, and then we've come over here and for us now, it is about building our team, our game over not just for next Friday, but right through this tournament. We're happy with where we're at now. We don't like losing, but it is what it is. It's a game that was really a warm-up game for the World Cup, and really nothing matters now.
And while Lyon appeared to have been a rather generous host to the men in black, the All Blacks know when they return to Paris and take to the centre stage at Stade de France, it will be polar opposite for that opening game. The All Blacks will be up against the highly fancied host nation in front of what will no doubt be a partisan Parisian crowd, and it will be a white-hot atmosphere, and SENZ will be right in the heart of the action as we will provide live commentary of the opening game from one of rugby's great cathedrals, Stade de France. And the big question is, and I'm sure you will echo me in saying this, can the All Blacks handle the heat? We will find out all in good time.
SENZ.